Yes, she's here.
A single father, invisible to the world, answered a phone call in Dutch. The billionaire in the hallway stopped cold point 10 minutes later. He was sitting across from foreign tycoons, changing the fate of $1 billion deal. But the real twist was why she needed him to stay. Victor de Vries had a gift for disappearing that he didn't mean to be invisible, but life had taught him. When you fall far enough, the world stops looking at you. Every night, he slipped through glass hallways like a shadow, mopping up the footprints of people who would never learn his name. And he was fine with that, or at least, that's what he told himself. But somewhere deep down, he remembered the man he used to be, the man in a tailored suit, arguing cases in Amsterdam courtrooms, the man who made promises under a blue umbrella in the rain, to a woman who isn't here anymore. Tonight, though, wasn't supposed to be about remembering. It was about surviving, getting through another shift, earning enough to keep his daughter, Mila, in school, and maybe, just maybe, buying her the red sneakers she'd been eyeing. But fate doesn't respect routines. It was 10:43 p.m. when the old phone started to buzz. No name, no picture, just an unknown number. He almost let it ring out. But something, intuition, muscle memory, maybe loneliness, made him swipe to answer. Asterisk hello? Hogat het met je. The words slid out in perfect Dutch, as if they'd been waiting for years to escape. On the other end, a voice trembled with gratitude. A former client, stranded at Schiphol Airport, recognizing Victor's voice instantly, asking for help to understand a complicated legal notice from customs. And for a few minutes, Victor wasn't a janitor. He was a man in control again, solving a problem with calm precision. He didn't notice the echo of footsteps until they stopped right behind him. Alara Voss, billionaire and CEO, was known for two things: never wasting a second and never missing a detail. And right now, her attention was fixed entirely on the janitor, holding a mop like a staff and speaking flawless Dutch into a battered phone. "You speak Dutch?" she asked, her voice smooth but sharp. Victor turned, startled. Up close, her presence was even more intimidating. Every inch of her posture radiated control. "Yes, ma'am," he replied quietly, lowering the phone. Alara studied him for a long, unnerving moment. And then, without explanation, said, "Stay here tonight. I'll pay you triple." It wasn't a request. And before Victor could ask why, she was already walking away. He stepped into a private elevator, the kind he'd only seen in movies. The mirrored walls reflected a man who didn't quite belong here. Calloused hands, worn shoes, mop still in one hand. Alara stood beside him in silence, scrolling through her tablet. Halfway up, she glanced at him. "How long were you in Amsterdam?" 8 years, he said. "Long enough to miss the rain." She didn't smile, but something in her eyes shifted, as if she'd just confirmed a theory. When the doors opened, the world changed. Floor-to-ceiling glass, a glowing skyline, and a boardroom big enough to fit his entire apartment. "Our translator canceled," Alara said simply. On the screen, 3 Dutch businessmen were already deep into negotiations, speaking quickly, politely, and with hidden malice. "Translate and protect my interests," she murmured. The first few minutes were a blur of business jargon. But Victor's instincts kicked in. He caught it. Clause 14.2, buried language that would lock Alara into a crippling supply agreement. He didn't just translate. He countered, rephrasing in ways that removed their leverage, weaving in safeguards. Without raising suspicion, Alara said nothing, but her eyes never left him. As he spoke, the words carried him back to the early days, when he was a rising star in law, when life felt like an endless upward climb, and then to the hospital corridors, the unpaid bills, the slow unraveling. His wife's passing had left him with Mila and nothing else. And now here he was, mop bucket parked outside a boardroom, fighting battles for someone else's empire. Only this time, he was winning. The delegates began to falter, their polished confidence cracking under Victor's subtle maneuvers. He trapped them with their own words, securing better terms for Alara's company, clause by clause. By the end, they had no choice but to agree. The video call ended. Silence filled the room. Alara leaned back, studying him like a chess piece she'd just discovered could move in ways she never expected. You weren't always a janitor, she said. Victor told her everything. About the career he'd lost, about his wife, about working nights so Mila could have a chance he'd never get back. Alara listened without interrupting, her gaze unwavering. Then she reached into her bag and slid a thick envelope toward him. Inside, an offer letter. Head of International Negotiations. It read, "You start Monday." Victor stared, unsure if this was real. "Why?" he asked. "Because you just saved me millions. And because you deserve more than the world gave you." For the first time in years, Victor was home before dawn. He made pancakes, burning the first one because Mila made him laugh too hard. He didn't tell her about the contract, not yet. But she noticed something different in his face. "You look lighter," she said. "Maybe I am," he replied. That night had changed everything. He'd gone from being unseen to being indispensable. And though he would never forget the years of silence, that he knew one thing for sure. Sometimes all it takes is one moment, one conversation, one person to see you for who you really are.